Well, it is a Sunday and it is snowing, and I've decided to make a video today because this topic kept popping in my head, and I thought, you know what? This is something that not a lot of people talk about and I think should be talked about. And also, I was going to off-road today, but I decided to cut it because of the snow. I know that seems lame. Trust me, it's really fun to off-road in the snow, but Doug's going to be wrapping my wheels tomorrow, and I thought that I'd be nice to him and not have the wheels so covered in mud that he wouldn't be able to wrap them. But anyways, today's video is going to be about an enthusiast checklist, and this is something that I didn't really ever think about until today, and so I thought it'd be a cool topic to actually talk about. So if you're someone that's just kind of buying a car for one purpose or several purposes, this video and this checklist isn't really going to make a lot of sense to you. But if you're like me, where you're a real car enthusiast, you love cars, you love driving cars, then this enthusiast checklist is actually going to make a whole lot of sense. So like a good example is someone like my mom. All she cares about is, does the car have all-wheel drive and does it get good gas mileage? If it has all-wheel drive and gets good gas mileage, then she's fine, and that's all she cares about with the car. Whereas as a car enthusiast, there's a whole lot more that you care about, and let's get into that. So first off, let's go over the things that I think are in the enthusiast checklist. So first off, does the car look good on the outside? Then the second thing is, does it look good on the interior? Does it have a nice interior? And then the third thing is going to be, is the car reliable? And then, does the car handle well? Does the car have a good acceleration? And then also, is the car, you know, fun to drive? And then finally, does the car have a smooth ride quality to it? And I think that those are really the things that are part of the enthusiast checklist. Now, I understand that some people might add some other things into the checklist, but I think that those really are kind of the main items, and those can be the main topics of discussion in today's video. I think rather than individually talking about each of the items, I think talking about my garage mistakes over the last few years would actually be a better way to kind of show how these enthusiast items are really important in your garage. So the first garage I had on the channel was the 2006 Porsche Boxster S and a 2018 Ram Rebel. Now, the things that I was missing with those vehicles is I didn't have a vehicle that had a particularly nice interior, and I didn't have a vehicle that was particularly fast, but I had pretty much everything else: good handling, nice sound quality, cool looks, all that kind of stuff. And so while I had that garage for the channel, I just felt like I was missing something. So what did I do? I got rid of the Boxster and I traded it for a Shelby GT350. The GT350 gave me a car that had really cool looks. It didn't really have a nice interior, but it sounded amazing, and it handled really nice, and it was very fast. And so I still had most of the stuff, but I still didn't have a car that rode really smooth, and I still didn't have a car that had a really nice interior. So having the Shelby GT350 and having the Rebel, again, as an enthusiast, I still felt like I was missing something, and I didn't understand it back then. But now, again, hindsight's 2020, I understand what I was missing then. I should have had something that was more luxury. So what did I do? Of course, I traded cars again. I traded the Shelby GT350 and I traded the Ram Rebel for a 2019 Rebel. And obviously I lost the acceleration and I lost the crazy good handling, but I gained the luxury items that I was kind of really looking for. And so again, I was like, gosh, I'm missing something. So what did I do? I traded the Rebel for a 2020 Raptor. And the Raptor gave me better handling, better acceleration, but the interior on the Raptor wasn't as nice as the Rebel. The ride quality wasn't as smooth, so I lost some of the luxury items. And I still felt like I was missing something with the Raptor. So then I bought the ZL1 1LE. And with the 1LE, I had crazy good acceleration, crazy good handling, really cool looking car. Just, I mean, it got so much attention. And I had pretty much everything, except I didn't have a car with a nice interior, and I didn't have a car that rode very smooth. So while having the Raptor and the ZL1 1LE, which is a completely awesome garage, tons of fun, as an enthusiast, I still felt like I was missing something. And you guys at that time, if you followed my channel, you guys saw that I was talking about how I felt like the Camaro rode too rough and all that kind of stuff. In reality, it was a rough riding car, but it wasn't the Camaro that was the issue. It was the fact that I didn't have any sort of like luxury in my garage. And so then again, as an enthusiast of all types of cars, I felt like I was still missing something. So I sold the Camaro and I got the new Mark V Supra, the 2021 version. and I gained a smoother ride quality. Still had pretty good acceleration, not as good as the Camaro. Still had pretty good handling, again, not as good as the Camaro, but it was lighter weight, so it was fun in a different way. And having the Supra, again, still made me feel like I was missing something, and I still had the Raptor at that point. I was still missing a really nice luxury interior, and I was still missing having a really nice luxury ride quality. So what do? Of course, in normal Ben Hardy fashion, is I traded both of those vehicles. Well, didn't trade both of them. I sold the Supra to one of my friends, David, and he's absolutely loving that car. And then I traded the Raptor for this truck, the Ram TRX. And this is the truck that made me realize like all of this that I'm making this video about today. And having this truck, it's the most well-rounded vehicle that I have ever owned, hands down. It looks fantastic on the outside. It accelerates like just it's so crazy. The acceleration on this truck is mind-boggling. It sounds amazing. The interior on this truck is fantastic. I don't care what you think about Ram. The interior on this truck is beautiful. Beautiful leather, Alcantara, everything. Like, I feel like I'm in a luxury car. And the ride quality also feels like a luxury car. The handling on it is pretty good. Again, it's a 6,000 pound truck, so it's not gonna handle like a sports car, but for a 6,000 pound truck, it handles fantastic. And so from an enthusiast checkpoint perspective, it pretty much ticks all of the boxes pretty much. Again, if you guys follow me, then in a previous video, you guys heard me talk about how I feel like the TRX just meets all my needs and I don't really have a desire to have another car. And that was 100% true initially owning the truck. And that was true until I started reviewing some performance cars. And then I started realizing what I was missing out on. Now, this is nothing, I'm not saying anything bad about Ram, because Ram made arguably the best vehicle under $100,000 ever. Like, this truck, seriously, it does so many things and it does them so well, but Ram can't get around physics. This is a 6,000 pound vehicle, and so even though it handles really well for a 6,000 pound vehicle, it still doesn't handle as well as like a 3,000 pound or 3,500 pound sports car. And again, I didn't realize this until I started reviewing some cars. So you guys, recently, if you remember, I reviewed a Camaro SS1LE. I reviewed my friend's WRX STI, and his STI was the one that really showed this to me, where we drove it on a fun road, and I was shocked because I was like, wow, I drive a 700 horsepower truck that handles great, that sounds amazing, and I'm having so much fun in this 300 horsepower Subaru with a manual transmission. And that's, after driving his car, that's when it kind of hit me. And then of course, recently this week, I reviewed a Focus RS, I reviewed a Civic Type R. And again, these cars are not fast whatsoever, but I was having a blast driving them. And then that's what kind of popped this enthusiast checklist into my mind. I was like, with this TRX, I literally have everything except the lightweight handling aspect. And so when I'm driving my friend's car, or when I'm driving the Camaro SS1LE or the Civic Type R, I'm realizing, oh my gosh, this is what I'm missing, and that's why I'm enjoying the driving experience of that so much. And so this will lead me to the key point of the video. The key point that I want to make is, again, if you're a car enthusiast like me and you're an enthusiast of all aspects, all types of cars, then you need to pick vehicles that are well-rounded enough to meet all of your needs, or you need to be okay with having a bunch of cars, which, I mean, I think that's definitely a fun thing to do. But obviously money is a thing, and not all of us are made of money. Like some people, they can buy a million cars. And so again, I think as an enthusiast, what you really need to do is you need to have this checklist in your mind while you're purchasing a car, and you need to actively see what the car has and what it doesn't have. And you need to then, after seeing that, go, okay, is this really going to be a good car for me to have in my garage, or is this going to be a good set of cars for me to have in my garage, or I'm going to feel like I'm missing out on something like what I'm experiencing right now? Because right now I, again, have this crazy, like, look at this. Tons of fun, crazy fast accelerating truck, and you guys can see how smooth it rides, how quiet it is on the interior, and you guys can see from the point of view how beautiful this interior is. But when I huck this truck into a corner, I mean, it corners well for a truck, but I don't get that fun, engaging feel that you get with a lightweight sports car. So I still feel like I'm missing out on something as an enthusiast. And I think this is something that a lot of people don't talk about. And I just think that, again, this should be a checklist in your mind. So when you go in to buy a car, just be realistic with yourself and just have this checklist in your mind mentally. Does the car look good on the outside? Does it have a nice interior? Does it accelerate well? Does it handle well? Does it have a smooth ride quality to it? It just, basically everything I just talked about in today's video, I would do that checklist in your mind with the car that you're buying or the set of cars that you're buying. And if a car is missing any sort of point, then what you should then do is ask yourself, am I going to be missing that? And if the question, or if the answer is yes, that you are going to be missing that, then I would reconsider the set of cars that you're buying or the single car that you're buying, and maybe look at getting a different type of garage. Because as everything stands right now on this channel, I'm going to be having a $95,000 700 horsepower pickup truck, and then I'm also going to be driving, you know, I am looking at a few of the rally cars. I'm gonna be driving a 300 horsepower, 300 to, you know, obviously the Focus RS is a little bit more at 350, but a 300 to 350 horsepower, you know, inexpensive manual transmission hatchback is my second car, so then I can have all my needs met as an enthusiast. So it's a weird garage that not a lot of people would even think about, but once you kind of do the checklist, then it all starts to make sense. Hopefully this video reaches someone, and then they don't make the same mistake I make where they go through literally half a dozen cars and then figure this out. Hopefully you then just go and buy, you know, 1 or 2 cars, and then it meets your needs, and then you're like, okay, thank you, Ben Hardy. You saved me thousands of dollars and years of headache, and I got exactly what I wanted. So yeah, that's today's video, and I'll see you guys.